Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. Are you considering starting a business and don't know where to start? Are you running a business currently and are not getting the clients or the results you want? Maybe thinking a brand new way can get you onto a better path where you can be seen and understood more clearly in your business. Stay tuned for our brand new episode on the Champion Up podcast, starting your business the right brand of way. Hi, my name is Adrian Starks, and welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up podcast. This podcast is for the courageous creators wanting to create a life of meaning, adventure, and fulfillment, all while helping to make the world a better place. I'm happy you're here, and if you're new to our show, make sure to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Champion Up. It is always that one idea that could be your breakthrough. It's time to step into your courage and believe the champion in you. Welcome, everyone, to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up podcast. I'm your host. My name is Adrian Starks, and I'm happy to have you back for another amazing episode. Make sure you go to the App Store and get that Champion Up app and download it, and also to give us that 5-star rating here on the show and subscribe so you can be on the lookout for more amazing content coming your way. Today is a very special episode, and we're going to talk about starting your business the right brand of way. And no, I didn't say the right kind of way. I said the right brand of way. We have Caitey Gilchrist on the show today. And Caitey, can you say hello to our guests?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Caitey. And we had Caitey on a while back, and Caitey was so amazing. And people loved her so much that we had to get her back on the show today. So a little bit about Caitey. Caitey Gilchrist is an award-winning entrepreneur, Franken-brand slayer, and creative for life. As the founder of a successful brand strategy business, Caitey has built kick-ass brands for a wide range of companies and entrepreneurs, including coaches, marketers, financial advisors, and more. With clients raving about her thoughtfulness and breadth of knowledge, Caitey is passionate about helping businesses and individuals uncover their authentic brand identities. She is dedicated to connecting human beings to their purpose, power, and people, and empowers entrepreneurs to use their core message to create freedom in their lives and businesses. Welcome back to the show, Caitey.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Thanks for the amazing introduction, too.
Oh, hey, it's your introduction. I'm just saying it.
Brilliantly written.
Oh, well, you know, you're a courageous creator and you're an amazing person. That's why we have you back on the show. And so, Caitey, let's get right back into this here. So you're a brand strategist, but what is that exactly for our audience listening today?
Well, a brand strategist is essentially someone who can help you bridge that communication gap between you and your customer. And so in my role as a brand strategist, I specialize in helping entrepreneurs clarify the message behind their business and also getting that message out into the world in a way that their audience really understands.
Good. Okay. So you get the message out to the world so the way that their audience, meaning their audience, understands. It's important here that we look at the term their audience, right? Having that right audience.
Exactly.
Okay. And so for someone starting, you know, a new business today, maybe the person listening, they're an entrepreneur, they're a novice, they're new to this, business, and they're getting up and going. But why is branding important for that entrepreneur or the first-time business owner or even businesses? What's so important about branding and why should they have it?
Branding is so important because it focuses on building relationships with your audience. It takes it beyond just the transactional side of business, and it's focused more on the human to human connection. And so it's incredibly important. And brands affect our purchase decisions, our relationship decisions every single day. And actually, if you try to imagine for a second a world without any type of branding, you can't even imagine what making purchase decisions or finding a new car or whatever that action might be would look like. Because you just go out, everything would look the same. And how do you make your decisions then? So branding really helps consumers find something that they can be connected to. And it also helps businesses differentiate themselves so that they're not just competing on prices and features alone.
So true. And you mentioned too about branding impacts our decisions or our choices we make about that particular purchase of that brand. And it's really important for us to know this because whether you're in the store or going to get a new car or purchasing anything, you're thinking first about what is actually the company behind this, how long have they been around, or if you've heard about them before, right? So a lot of us will go out and we'll purchase a car and we may say that this model is really nice. I've heard about this model. I've heard about this from a friend. That's a brand that you're trusting, right? That's a brand that you're saying, I know this, so I'm going to purchase. And with your business, if you do not have a brand, then you're just a business or a person out there trying to sell something. And as Caitey mentioned, it's about building relationships, and people need to have trust in what your message is behind what you're trying to offer them. Caitey, you talk about not just branding, but authentic branding. But what makes it authentic?
For me, I think authentic branding is really starting from the source of that brand. So usually the business owner or the entrepreneur. An authentic brand takes what that entrepreneur truly believes in and what their vision of the world really looks like and propels that out into the world. It's really about standing in what you believe in and using that as the thing that differentiates you and using that as the thing that helps you communicate with people on their level as well.
Standing in what you believe in and using that as a means of the representation of your business. And this is important for anyone listening today, whether you're an entrepreneur or not an entrepreneur, but standing for something. What do you stand for? Because we're always selling something. When we walk outside, we're selling ourselves through our conversations, through our interactions with people. But when you're walking into the world of being an entrepreneur, such as Caitey and many others and myself, then it is about what do you stand for? What do you represent? And this is what she means by being authentic. Caitey, last time on the show, we talked about backwards branding. And I want to go back to that. So for the people hearing you for the first time today, what is exactly backwards branding?
So backwards branding is essentially when somebody does the steps in the branding process, well, backwards. And so usually what that looks like is a company will start their brand by developing a logo, a website, their social media presence, without first determining the message behind everything. And so I find a lot of entrepreneurs do this, especially when they're first starting out, because they think that what people see is the most important part. But without a message to back up those visuals to guide your decisions in your business, you're really just setting yourself up to have a Franken brand.
So leading into that, the Franken brand, you're known as the Franken brand slayer, and that is so awesome. It just makes me feel like you're just this person. You're just like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to just do this. So what is the Franken brand slayer? Is that like your alter ego, or is that just like, what you're known for? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I have a cape that I bring out and I go out into the world. The Franken brand is something that I use to describe something that is incredibly common, especially in the small business community. It's a brand that has been kind of patched together with random-like elements, sort of like Frankenstein's monster. And so I think it's really a result of people not being entirely clear on their message. And so they pull bits and pieces of their branding from all these other different sources without really deciding on what they represent as a brand.
True. I know when I first started out, I was going with the logo first, but I also had in my mind what the message was behind that logo. So for the people that are starting their businesses, what you're saying is that you have to be very clear about what your message is. Like, what is the message that you're wanting to give to your audience, to your market? Because that is going to determine how they see your brand. And if your logo and your message are different, then that causes a little bit of distrust and conflict. Am I right about that, Caitey?
Yeah, it creates a bit of a disconnect. And
okay.
It's funny, too, because sometimes we go into business and we might think that we have a general idea of what our message is. But until we sit down, write it out, and take an objective look at it, sometimes we might find that our message isn't actually that clear. And so it's really important that even if you've got a general sense, to try to find the words. Because if you're not able to describe your message, there is no way that your audience is going to understand it either.
Yeah, and the message has to be, would you say that the message should be clear and simple and not too complicated? Like some people have, like they're asking them, what is your message behind this? And they give you like a paragraph, right? Would you suggest that their message should be concise to the point where you should be able to say it in a certain amount of sentences without having to drag on with detail?
Yeah, so I think the clearer and the more concise you can make it, the better. One challenge that I often give people is to describe their message in 10 words or less. And it sounds impossible. And usually they freak out and they're like, no, I can't do that. And that doesn't mean you have to use those 10 words every time. You can still have a story that backs it up. But if you can't concisely describe it and say a sentence or two, it's going to be really hard to grab people's attention and keep it long enough for them to actually hear the entire message behind your brand.
It's so true, Caitey, because even now we're learning that the attention span of the average human being is very short. I mean,
yes.
This is why in movies, I know back in the 80s, I was born in the 80s. Back in the 80s, we had like this, whole thing that built up to the action, and you got to know the people and the town. But now it's like the movies start writing the action, like what's going on here?
Oh, yeah.
Because the attention span is shorter. And that's because we just live in a fast-paced society and world now. And that comes with technology, and that just comes with the turf. So when you're talking to someone, you got to think in terms of what their attention span is like. Because if you're talking to me and Caitey and we ask you, what's the message behind your brand? And you are talking and you go on into like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you lost us after about 10 seconds. Because the average person's attention span is about 7 seconds before they lose interest. We know this on the stage as speakers, because Caitey's a speaker and many others, and myself too, that if you don't get the attention within the first 7 seconds, then it's going to be hard to get that attention down the road. So when you're speaking about your message, you have to think in terms of, like Caitey said, 10 words or less. And this is what Caitey specializes in helping people get that narrowed down. Caitey, in our last segment, you said something that I want to quote in your words that really gave me the light bulb moment or aha moment. We don't want to work with businesses. We want to work with people. I'm going to say that again. That was like you're standing outside, you're saying, we don't want you. I want to say it again. We don't want to work with businesses. We want to work with people. Yes. And Caitey, why is this important for us to understand?
Well, it's important for us to understand because when it really comes down to it, humans are social animals. We live in communities. We live in packs. We want to find our community. And so when we try to dissociate from our brands to put something out there that's just our business or just a company, you're really missing out on a huge opportunity to welcome people into your community or to become part of their community as well. I mean, we really don't want to do businesses with faceless companies or computers, for example. Even though they might be just as well equipped to fulfill our needs, we naturally are more likely to trust other humans to understand us, to really know what our needs are, and to help us take that pain away. And so understanding that we want to work with other humans is incredibly important, especially when you're building out your brand.
That is so important for us listening today. Remember that you are human. Hello, human. Yes, we have to communicate and to associate with each other. And that's interesting because when I first started out, I didn't think of this that way, Caitey. And I'm pretty sure there's people right now with their aha moment going on. And is this a common mistake that people could be making and why they're probably not building the relationships, getting the clients they really desire to have and moving forward in their businesses by not taking that approach?
Yeah, I think so for sure. And there's definitely people out there who don't quite understand that we want to do business with people. And there's also the people out there who know that we want to do business with other humans, but there's something stopping them. And I think it takes a little bit of courage and vulnerability to really step into your brand and to put yourself out there in your business. It's an act of courage to be putting yourself out there and saying, hey, look, this is who I am. You're doing business with me, not just my company. Take it or leave it, really. So it's incredibly important to be able to embrace the human side of business as well.
Yes, and to not rush the process and to be patient, because we have to think, like you were mentioning, being courageous and stepping out saying, this is who I am. A lot of us don't want to do that. We want to say, well, this is what my business is, right? And so people get that. They see that, but they want to know, okay, but I'm going to be making possibly an interaction with you through the business or a transaction with you through the business. So I've got to trust you first, because your business doesn't take my card or my cash or even associates itself with other people I may know. You do. And so when people look at that, we have to realize too that we are the business, right? We're the face of our businesses, and we represent our businesses in all that we do. And I love that you have this passion about making sure we come about it the right way, or the right brand of way, Caitey. I love your quotes. You have so many. But there's another quote that I want to bring to the attention of our audience today. And that is, brand recognition is all about brand repetition. I'm going to say this again. Brand recognition is all about brand repetition. Now, from this quote, Caitey, I get the idea that the more we're consistent with our brand, the more it becomes recognized and trusted by the people who see it. Am I correct on that, or maybe I'm off?
No, for recognition, for sure. Like, I think there's a few different numbers out there, but I've heard it takes an average of, I think, 7 impressions before somebody really recognizes or wants to take action on your brand. The interesting thing about that, though, is that doesn't necessarily mean they'll trust you. Because when it really comes down to it, it's not the volume that matters, it's the message. So you could be standing on the street corner just shouting nonsense every single day, and sure, people will recognize you, but that doesn't mean they're going to trust you or want to hand over their credit card to you either.
That's true. That's true. I love the fact that you said it takes 7 impressions for them to recognize the fact that your brand is there, but it still doesn't mean they will trust you. And so what would it take to get them to trust you?
Well, I think it really has to start with being clear on your own message first.
Okay.
Because often I find what entrepreneurs do is they think about their clients in terms of the features and the benefits they're looking for, but they don't really infuse that personality, that human aspect to it. And we need to see that human behind the brand again. It all comes down to having that human behind the business. And so it really takes a number of different things. You need to be able to address all of their needs, of course, but you also need to have a level of vulnerability to show that you're trustworthy as well.
Oh, I love that level of vulnerability, because I've seen people and they've wanted to do business with me and they're just like this, I don't know how to, like a robot. Like, I know they're just saying something they've said over 1,000 times and they have no emotional movement in their face, right? And you're like, I love the credentials that you have and you're telling me. However, I just don't know if I can get beyond that poker face you've got going on there. And so when we look at a person, I'm not saying that people have to smile on all the time, but we know when a person is truly showing up as themselves versus a person who is just showing up to sell you something. And this is what we need to be very careful on, because we know this. Caitey knows this. I know this. And a lot of entrepreneurs know this. We see it enough. And we can determine if we want to do business with someone based upon those things. Caitey, so for the entrepreneurs listening today, they're probably thinking, oh my goodness, I got to change up some things here. What did I do wrong? Is it too late for any entrepreneur or business owner to change their logo since it's usually associated with the brand?
Well, the short answer to that is no. But I want to let you know that you have to be aware of how a change in something like your logo might impact your audience. If it's something that they're not quite used to yet, it might not have much of an effect. If you change it drastically from like a green circle to a red pyramid with fire coming out of it, they'll probably notice that. So you have to, tread lightly. And there's actually some really interesting cases out there of companies that have changed their logos and have had some backlash from it. And I want to tell you about a couple of them if we've got time for that, Adrian.
Let's hear it.
Oh, they're my favorite. So back in 2010, the company Gap, the clothing company, they went through a very controversial logo change. And so they had used focus groups to find the ideal design for their new logo. And if you want to take a look at their logo, it's essentially just the word Gap in a blue square. And so they changed the font, they changed the square a little bit, and they released it in 2010 to a lot of outrage. And so people were very, very, very upset with this iconic logo change, which had been there for about 20 years, I think. And so what Gap did is they decided to change it back, which is fine. But that logo change cost them over $100 million. Ouch, right? Now you compare that to Instagram, who in 2016 also went under a pretty significant logo change. They changed it from their iconic, almost surreal, realistic type looking camera to a very flat, modern looking logo. And there's just, once again, total public outrage. People were losing their minds over their favorite social media app changing their logo. And so Instagram decided that they would do nothing, and they just kept it. And a few years later, nobody's talking about it because it was just a logo change. So it really depends on your following and also how you choose to respond to that change as well. Because you could easily just fold and go back to where you were. But if you look at Gap, they still have a logo that some could say is a little bit dated, and Instagram has moved and evolved with the time. So it's really, if there's any effects, you just need to anticipate them and be ready to stand in whatever change you're making.
Excellent answer. And this is why you are the brand strategist and the expert in authentic branding, Caitey. Thank you so much for that answer, because that's answered some questions for me too. And to our audience, if you have a logo or any kind of brand, be cautious too of how you change your colors, because the colors also impact how people see your brand. For me, my colors tend to be, my colors are the tiger, orange and black. No, it's not for Halloween. But people know the brand, they know the tiger head, they know that it's Champion Up, etc. Now, if I were to change that and all of a sudden have a balloon or something there, people would probably think that maybe I'm not in my right frame of mind. So, and this is because I've had mine for a while. And this is why it's important to pay attention to what you're doing and don't just try to compete with people out there or even compare. Stay in your lane and look at what message are you giving to your audience, what message do you want to give, and be so consistent on delivering that through your branding, through how you show up, through how you interact with people, because it all comes around full circle. What is the most important step, Caitey, for people to take to make sure their business gets off on the right track of its meaning or message today? What would be just a simple step they could do?
Well, it sounds simple, but it's not. But it's really important. And that is to clarify the purpose behind your brand. It is incredibly important. And it's a challenge, but it is one that is worth taking on because it guides everything else that comes into your brand strategy, into your message, and into the decisions that you make in your business as well. So finding out really what is driving, what is fueling your business and the impact you want to make with that.
Okay, so what is the purpose behind your business? And you mentioned that this is pretty hard to do because it's hard for us to figure out our purpose, like human purpose, so trying to figure it out for your business is another step. But this is what you specialize in, and this is what you help people with. And you do have some programs that you have people, your students go through that they've been reaching a lot of great success from what I'm hearing. And are these some of the programs that you help people with to find their purpose through their business?
Yeah, so this is something I've been doing for years, one-on-one with my clients, and I'm really excited because I have my newest program called the Authentic Brand Blueprint, and it
Oh,
takes you through this process. So it's really exciting. I actually have some students going through it right now. They're about halfway through,
hmm.
and the amount of clarity and the breakthroughs that they're having right now is just phenomenal and so satisfying to watch. So it's just a really simplified process to get you through those hard questions that are really important to ask when you're developing your brand strategy.
Okay, so it's called the Authentic Brand Blueprint.
Correct.
And how would someone be able to join this course or to go to where you're hosting it and take it?
So pretty simple. If you just go to authenticbrandblueprint.com, it will take you right there and
Oh,
give you an overview about what the program is about and what it includes.
great, great. All right. Well, you hear that, guys. Authentic Blueprint, is it .com?
Authenticbrandblueprint.com.
Uh, authenticbrandblueprint.com. Go there to sign up for this program because if you're unclear about your message or your purpose, or even if you just want to be more clear about your message, this is a great start and program for you. I personally have had a chance to work with Caitey and talk with Caitey, and let me tell you that it's so worth it. And it takes so much stress off of you because you don't have to worry about what other people may be thinking about your business. You just go out and you know this is what your business is about. And here's the thing. You're not going to attract everyone. Stop trying to do that. This is the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make. You're not going to attract everyone. So you don't have to, and I think Caitey mentioned this last time we taught, be a chameleon. You don't want to be that chameleon person trying to blend your business in with anything else. So be clear in your message. Go and get this program and to start taking the steps to making your message more clear and reaching the right clients that you want to reach that will save you lots of time and money. So, Caitey, I love the fact that you're the Franken brand slayer. You're slaying out all these things that people are doing in their business and helping them to repatch it back together the right brand of way. I love this. But what does Caitey do? I'm talking third person here, but what do you do, Caitey, in your spare time? Because I know that you've got a lot you're doing, and somehow you have to be able to release a lot of this work you're doing and have some fun for yourself. What do you do? What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, Caitey enjoys board games and hiking.
There is it.
Yeah. No, I really love anything that can get my brain thinking in a creative way or just adventuring outside. I know I just came back from one of my biggest adventures on the West Coast Trail, which is on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. It was an incredible experience. 75 kilometers across beautiful West Coast terrain. And it's stuff like this that totally fuels me and motivates me in my business to get outdoors, to explore, to get creative and maybe a little dirty in the process as well.
This is awesome. This is why Caitey is a courageous creator. Not only does she help people, brand their business the right brand of way, she gets out in the world and she gets out and hikes. She does things. She loves board games. And so this is part of that authenticity we were talking about earlier, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that we're human. We have things we like to do and that we want to experience more of. And if you got to go out and enjoy life and bring that enjoyment into your business. I have been around Caitey. And let me tell you, she is exciting to be around. And when you see her and when you're with her, it's just like you're just like, wow, I want to learn more about how to build my business the right brand of way because Caitey lives through that truth. And let me ask you a question today, ladies and gentlemen. What truth are you living through with your business? Because you can sit here all day long and we can cover ourselves up with perfect clothing and to regurgitate, I would say, the things that we say over and over and over again. Reality is that do you believe it? Do you feel it? Are you passionate about it? Do you really want to help people in your kind of authentic way? Because if you don't, then that message is not going to be clear. And so if you want the message to be clear, start learning to, as Caitey said, step into your courage in your business and be that person that you are. Caitey, you are an amazing person, and I would love to have our audience get in contact with you or connect with you. How can they go about doing that?
So a lot of my contact information can be found on my website, caiteygilchrist.com. You can also reach out to me on social media. I'm basically everywhere. And I also, if you're looking for more authentic branding related tips, I also have my podcast, The Authentic Brand.
Oh, you got a podcast too. Okay, so the Authentic Brand podcast. Make sure you go and download that today, ladies and gentlemen. Do that right now. Actually, not right now. You want to keep listening to this. But when we're done, go and get and download that podcast, all right? Okay, so now we have come to the moment of the show that I love and everyone else loves. The Courageous Creator question. Caitey, are you ready for this question?
Bring it on, Adrian.
All right. Caitey answered it very well last time. Let's see if she has some flair to answer it this time. Caitey, what does it mean to you to be authentic?
That is an awesome question. For me, being authentic is really about letting what is inside you drive what happens in your outside world. So really pulling from what you deeply believe in, what you stand for, not what you think other people want you to stand for, but what you really deeply believe in, and letting that guide your actions and interactions in the world.
What a powerful question and answer. Caitey, this is why you are a courageous creator on this show. And I can't say thank you enough for really being a beacon of light in the world, personal world and business world, and allowing us to really step into our truths of being authentic in our personal lives and our businesses. And I just want you to know that you're doing a fantastic job and you're making some major impact out here in the world, Caitey. And thank you for really showing up and for allowing people to do business, not just the authentic way, but the honest way, Caitey. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. I'm really happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here, Caitey. And to our audience today, we talked about a lot of things regarding the business of branding, but the most important thing for you to take away right now is, what is your message? I encourage you to go back and listen to this podcast again, take those notes, write them down, to check out Caitey's online program, which is creating major successes for entrepreneurs, and to listen to her podcast, and to really ask yourself, am I being clear about my business, my message right now? Because this could be the reason why you're not where you want to be. And there's a reason for that. There's people that can help you, but I say that Caitey is really fantastic when it comes to getting you off on the right track and helping you stay consistent, because once again, brand recognition is all about brand repetition. Until then, everyone, I encourage you all to be that courageous creator in your life. This is the Purposeful Life Show and the Champion Up Podcast with myself, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, don't forget to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on the powerful life-changing content on future episodes. Also, make sure to go to championup.net for even more life-changing content. Until then, I encourage you to be the courageous creator in your life.